As news spread of an enraged Salem community routing corporate ghouls and their humiliating joke of a data center plan and backroom dealing, there always has to be a killjoy in a moment of public elation. There always has to be that guy. Demonstrations like this would never be considered if the stakes didn't involve the prospect of a community waking up to ink drying on an agreement where they have been signed up to the privilege of financing the destruction of their own lives. Nobody in a position of power should feel safe cutting deals like that. Nobody willing to do so should be in a position of power. Fortunately, the circumstances for Salem, Oregon are very far from that possibility. But the fact that so little was done for so long in secrecy smacks of negligence, incompetence, and maybe corruption all at the same time. A point emphasized by the project's financing partners being unable to answer the most basic feasibility questions demanded of any business plan. The data center's financial partner seems to have a bit of a track record in this area. In my rummaging around, I couldn't help noticing the uniform framing of most headlines and the cluster of photographs chosen to support their theme. We, the reading public, were regaled with a small but delightful selection of guillotine images having nothing to do with the mock-up parked outside the auditorium in Salem, Oregon. Every headline conveying that project representatives fled the meeting because of a guillotine unravels on sight of the mock-up displayed outside the auditorium. Little wonder authors led with the same handful of publicly available guillotine images, any image but what was actually wheeled around in protest. A guillotine stands 14 feet high with a heavily weighted blade. The height is necessary to generate the force needed to separate the heads of the condemned from their necks. The real McCoy weighs over 1,200 pounds, quite the workout for a human-powered toe. So I think we should be forgiven thinking a non-functional half-scale duct tape and foil blade mock-up with no apparent moving parts is not a credible threat to anyone. A display of intense public outrage? Yes. A Halloween lawn decoration dusted off for the purpose? Sure thing. A credible threat to a CEO's neck? You've got to be kidding. The claim is as serious as his business plan. The whole project itself is a joke. Nelson Abronson's sob story doesn't hold water. Neither does Aaron Stickney's, who took flight after a crowd said mean things about him. We should have some sympathy for corporate executives acclimated over 16 months to a very accommodating audience, unconcerned with project viability. A public meeting overflowing with residents demanding answers to pesky questions like how much water was going to be used and where the power was coming from, how many people would be employed for all this, and what kind of paying tenants they expected is something outside their experience. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere along the way, they figured out how bad the optics were and decided discretion was the only part of valor.